All right, so this is a suggestion via a channel member. Guys, let's check it out.
And President Trump, we've been all over this story, has China reeling tonight, still over our operation in Venezuela. Now, you all know by now that this is a move that was not only done to arrest Maduro, but at its core to beat back Chinese influence in our hemisphere. Beijing was the biggest buyer of Venezuelan oil, but not anymore. China and Russia, of course, they don't have any place in our hemisphere, certainly shouldn't be allowed to, set up their own outposts in the Western Hemisphere that endanger America's national security. And sources are claiming that the Trump administration told Venezuela's interim president, Delcy Rodriguez, that the regime must kick out China, Russia, Iran, and Cuba and sever economic ties, as well as to agree to partner exclusively with the U.S. on oil production in favor of the United States when selling heavy crude oil. In a new interview, the president telling the New York Times that the U.S. would be running Venezuela and extracting oil from its reserves, potentially for years, saying we will rebuild it in a very profitable way. We're going to be using oil. We're going to be going to taking oil. We're getting oil prices down. We're going to be giving money to Venezuela, which they desperately need. That is a tall order. And Vice President Vance explained today why we should not stop at Venezuela.
Greenland is really important, not just to America's missile defense, but to the world's missile defense. Number two, we know that there are hostile adversaries that have shown a lot of interest in that particular territory, that particular slice of the world. So what we're asking our European friends to do is to take the security of that landmass more seriously, because if they're not, the United States is going to have to do something about it.
You bet.
Okay. Okay, guys, hold on. We just kind of jumped to multiple topics here. I kind of want to go back to the first one for a second here. It's intriguing. If you do not want, here's the thing, like if you do not want for all of the opposition, specifically coming from the opposition party at least, right, to think that all of this was just because of oil, you can't keep talking about the oil. Right, and I think it's counterproductive. I get that that's a thing, and I get that Venezuela is easily one of the richest countries. I think the richest country in terms of oil itself, right? Heavy crude. But if you don't want them to keep dragging you through the mud, saying you only did this because of oil, then you can't keep talking about the oil, guys. All right.
Gordon Chang, Gatestone Institute senior fellow. Gordon, I've been dying to talk to you, since Saturday in the wee hours of the morning. It is important, is it not, that Greenland not become a satellite or an adversary be used by China or Russia as an outpost against the United States, as we're talking about these emerging threats?
Absolutely, Laura. We know that the Chinese and Russians have great interest in Greenland, and we also know something else. In January, Denmark's defense minister actually admitted that Copenhagen had neglected the defense of Greenland. Well, if Denmark is not doing it, then somebody has to, and that has to be the United States.
Yeah, but they have to want us to, right? Like, you understand what I'm saying here, guys? They have to want us to. But if they do sign that contract with us, for us to basically, permanently defend them, then that basically by default is going to turn into kind of nothing more than a satellite for us, which is the reality. I think it has to happen like that here. Because if not, at any time, like even with the general from the Danish military, what he just stated was Russia is a threat here, guys. Right? I mean, they're training for the sole purpose of protecting themselves, from Russia and China, because that is the legitimate threat here. Once the Ukraine is over, where are they going to go next? He said there.
Well, Gordon, what we know is that China, through its Belt and Road Initiative, has been, frankly, brilliantly assembling a series of strategic ports
in
across
Africa,
the globe, most notably in Africa, even in trying to buy ports and manage ports in the United States. They have hundreds of thousands, forget that, millions of people in the United States who've come to the United States, some on birth tourism, others buying property. And So
Birth tourism.
they're moving on all fronts.
What is
and
that?
Don't you think President Trump has just seen enough of this and said,
Birth
wait a
tourism.
second, we need to secure the hemisphere, but a place like Greenland, can we actually trust that that stays in Danish hands and that Denmark doesn't somehow give way to Chinese influence? We can't really take that risk.
Yeah, we have a real problem in the Arctic because we also have a Canada that for decades neglected the defense. You had Justin Trudeau, the former prime minister, basically his attitude was, well, if there's ever a problem in the North, the Americans will come and rescue us. So clearly the Canadian government and the Danish government are not up to it.
All right.
Gordon, okay.
Gordon, I think this reset in the Western Hemisphere is long overdue, and only Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance, Donald J. Trump could see it at 50,000 feet level, and we'll see if the media ever catches up. But I actually think most people in the media would be fine if the CCP took Venezuela. I don't think they'd have any problem with that. Don't you agree? The press is fine with China having more infiltration in the Western Hemisphere. They don't see it as a threat.
Yeah, and the important thing, though, is that President Trump sees it as a threat. We saw that in the National Security Strategy, which was issued last month, and we see it with his actions. Remember, Marco Rubio's first trip as Secretary of State was to Panama. That is critical. It shows the administration's priorities to do something about that critical canal zone.
All right, Gordon, thank you very much.
Because that statement wasn't even that crazy. Because if you listen to how people speak about things in terms of like China mainly, right? But I guess it depends. So for example, I've been to China. I have no problem being there. I think it's generally a super beautiful place in terms of the cities, right? But politically, it's like a different thing here. Like Beijing is intriguing. Okay, the rulers of China are interesting, right? It's one of these places where you go there, you see all the super futuristic cities, and then you basically leave, right? It's cool in that instance here. But no, guys, I do think that the opposition party of Trump, at least, would probably be fine because it affects Trump. If Trump wants something, they want the opposite. But they don't realize that by them wanting the opposite, it comes off as being the exact opposite of being a patriotic American, guys, right? It's the exact opposite. A lot of the things that they end up pushing is generally just anti-American. So that statement in itself feels like it has some moderate validity, I'd say here. Also learned a brand new term here today, guys. Birth tourism. You guys telling me in the comments it's like an anchor baby type of thing. That's a crazy way to put it, but I get it, right? It makes sense here. Yeah, people do this all day long. They still probably are doing this. This is not a new thing, I don't think here, guys. All right. Guys, do you want to watch movies with me? I never actually thought to promote it over here, guys. But if you guys do want to watch it, guys, we have hundreds of movies, and I mean hundreds of movies that we've reacted to. You guys can come watch them with me if you want to, along with many TV shows. Currently, we're working on the show Dexter, along with Vikings, and we have a lot of series that are already completed. But if you guys do want to watch it with me, the link is in the description. Everything's available at the second tier. But of course, if that's not your thing, guys, don't worry. Right? Listen, like and subscribe.